Hello everyone and welcome to our fourth threat intelligence session. Today we have Walter Higgins from IBM Security and also Andy Grzess from SmartTech 247 who are going to talk about threat intel platforms and consumption and introduction. Walter is going to present XForce Exchange, which is a public, freely available platform for sharing threat intelligence. He's going to talk a bit about how security analysts use XForce Exchange to collaborate and share threat intel and the different ways in which intel can be gathered and shared. So thanks very much for joining us today. I'm going to hand it over first to Andy, just to give us a quick introduction.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're doing well. It's great to see you all being in the session today. I promise today I keep it short and sweet. Let me just share my screen. I hope you can see my screen now. So today we're going to talk about IT platforms and TI platforms, threat intelligence platforms, and consumption. And before Walter shows actually a fabulous platform that we work a lot with, I just wanted to show you some alternatives. So as you know, there's no one size fits all. And as I promised, I keep it short. So it's just one more slide for today. So there's different tools out there. There's MISP, which is a fantastic sharing platform that you can send up. You can collect different feeds, work with it. Similar with MindMeld, which is a tool from, for example, Palo Alto that does this. We have here AlienVault OTX, which is a platform similar to XForce where you can consume also and query the system over, for example, Styx Taxi. Oysters Open is actually the platform, the organization that is actually building Styx and Taxi out with the support of IBM, McAfee, and many other large organizations. So have a look, for example, like Anomaly. Anomaly is fabulous for free threat intelligence. Also, they're providing a good feed. Then we have here Fido and URL House, which are by Abuse CH. That's a Swiss organization, nonprofit, that is producing this kind of threat intelligence for different areas, especially on URLs, Fido Tracker. There's a few other things out there. You will maybe see there Blocker.de and Spamhaus.de, which might be interesting ones. And we will share a list of all of those kind of informations here. It's what's very important to me, just to point out, Styx Taxi, this one of the formats that I think is the most dominant format in the world at the moment to ingest log data into different tools and tool sets, and tools like IBM, for example, XForce, MindMeld, MISP, and so on. They're making it actually possible that we're standardizing this very well. And actually, that was it for today from my side. And I hand over to Walter to go through a presentation, and I think you have a demo for us for today.
That's right, Andy. Thanks very much, and thanks everybody for joining. Let me just share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah, that's perfect, Walter.
Perfect, thanks. Okay, so today what I'm just going to talk briefly about is the XForce Exchange, which is a platform used internally by IBM, but also kind of, available. It's freely available for use by anyone, really. It started out, XForce Exchange basically is a platform for sharing threat intelligence. The XForce research team have been working on threat intelligence for a number of years, and the XForce research database is actually quite extensive. There's over 1 billion different reports in the system for various different types of indicators of compromise, IP addresses, malware hashes, URLs, and other vulnerabilities. So there's an extensive amount of information in there, and XForce Exchange is really just opening up that information for use by everybody. My own kind of just briefly, myself, I've been working at IBM for 11 years. For most of that time, I've been working in security, various different security products in IBM, BigFix, XForce Exchange, and more recently, Resilient. You can see there's contact details there. My Twitter handle is Walter if you do have any kind of follow-up questions after today's session, or you can reach me by email at walterh4@ie.ibm. So let me just move on here. I sent a link in the chat window there. The quickest way to access XForce Exchange is by this URL here, xforce.io. And I do encourage everybody to actually visit that link and play around with XForce Exchange. As I say, it is kind of freely available. You can sign in as a guest and you can explore and look around various different reports. I will kind of give a quick demo of XForce Exchange in a moment. Today, though, what I want to talk about is really one aspect of XForce Exchange, which is the ability to collaborate and to share threat intelligence. And you know, I suppose the first question before we talk about how to collaborate, the first question is why do we need to collaborate? We know for a fact that highly sophisticated threat actors do work together in identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities. So it makes sense that, you know, security analysts also need to, you know, work together to be effective against threat actors. This here is just a kind of quick screenshot of the landing page of XForce Exchange. I will kind of talk a little bit more about that in a moment. One aspect of XForce Exchange, I did mention already that there's, you know, it's an extensive database of threat intelligence. But one aspect that I'm going to talk about today is collections. And collections are basically how people share information. Collections, they're living documents. If you're a security analyst, or if you're responsible for security within your organization, you want to be able to kind of gather information if there is a potential threat. You want to be able to gather and share that information with others. So, you know, collections are basically the building blocks for sharing. You can think of a collection almost like a blog post. Collections are actually used by IBM as well. So whenever IBM issues a security advisory, what they're doing is actually creating a collection. They actually use XForce Exchange to publish security advisories. So this is a tool which our internal researchers use, and which anyone can also use as well. There's a number of different ways in which collections can be shared. You can share them with trusted individuals or groups, or within your own company, and of course they can also be shared publicly, which is what security advisories typically are. Collections, they can be exported, so they can be used with any tools that support STIX, STIX2 and TAXII. There's a number of ways of actually gathering information, gathering threat information into a collection. You can use email to actually gather the information, and you can also, collections can also be updated using the TAXII protocol. We know for a fact that security teams do use email for gathering information, and so having a collection inbox, an email address to which information can be sent, and into which, you know, we can gather, we can basically aggregate and append information to a collection using email. That's something that security teams do actually use a lot. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of switch gears here and do a quick demo of creating and sharing a collection. So let me just change gears here. So can everybody see my browser window? You should be able to see XForce Exchange. Okay. So basically what we have here is just the landing page of XForce Exchange. If anyone's already clicked on the link in the chat window, you know, this is what you should be seeing, or something like this. basically, you can see here, it's, the landing page consists of a number of different areas. You've got trending topics, which include various different indicators of compromise, tags, and so on. There's a number of different, just obviously coronavirus is, front and foremost really at the moment with everything. There are obviously a number of threat actors exploiting the coronavirus pandemic at the moment, and so it does kind of feature prominently on the landing page right now. We have activity reports, blog posts, vulnerabilities, and so on. One thing, obviously, that's super important when we talk about threat intelligence is timeliness. We want to know what are the most current threats. And you can see here, just in terms of this early warning feed, we can see that we can see the most recently identified indicators of compromise. So the time there 12 minutes ago, that's a newly registered domain from a newly registered domain from a threat actor, from a known threat actor. So like I say, there's a lot of information here. What I'm going to talk about, though, is just collections, which are how people share information, how they share threat intelligence. So if I'm a security analyst and I've observed some suspicious activity lately, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a new collection here. I'm going to call it suspicious activity, just with today's date, because I don't yet know enough about the collection or about the threat to be able to say what it is. So I'm treating this as a kind of a scrapbook, really, at this stage, to just start gathering information. So this is the newly created threat. I can edit this. You can see here, there's a number of different headings that are provided for us. This is a template really for a new threat, and it's just guidance really. It specifies, a number of different headings like the threat type, the overview, indicators of compromise, recommendations, and so on. I don't have to fill in all of these, obviously, but what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start typing an indicator of compromise. So this is an IP address, which there's been some suspicious traffic. You can see as I type that IP address, it becomes highlighted because the system recognizes this as an IP address and a potential indicator of compromise. So I can click on the IP address and it adds it as an IOC, an indicator of compromise. I save this, and you can see here it's actually added that it should show up here as a report, and sure enough it does. If I click on this, let me just bring this up here, slight delay. You can see it says there's no risk with this particular report or with this particular IP address. I'm going to add another IP address here. So close this. So I add this second IP address, or just a little bit of just a few. And I save. So now if I click on this second IP address that I've just added, you can see actually this has actually been earmarked as high risk. We can see it looks to be associated with some kind of botnet activity. So if we look at what you see here is a snapshot in time of the IP address and its risk, its associated risk at the time we added it to this report or to this collection. If I look at the current report for that IP address, you can see there's a lot of activity around that. We can see here on the right-hand side as well that it is associated with this botnet, this botnet. So straight off, we know that this IP address, which we've observed activity to in our network, that it is high risk. So if we go back a little bit here and close this, I'm just going to go to the go back to the collection. One thing I want to start doing is sharing this information with others, you know, as soon as possible. And if we look at the sharing options, you know, in the early stages of a collection, I may just want to keep the information to myself while I'm gathering information. But as soon as I feel the collection is ready to be shared with others, I can share it with individuals. And I'm just going to type some names here. So I'm sharing it with a colleague here. I can also share it with a group, and I'll talk a little bit more about groups in a moment. But you can see here there's 2 groups I've set up. In terms of, you know, what these people can do with the collection, we can specify whether they are the co-owner, whether they can only view the collection, or whether they can actually actively contribute to the collection. So, you know, the co-owner is obviously somebody who can in turn share that collection with others, and contributor is somebody who can basically add information into the collection but who can't share it with others. So that's one of the ways in which we can share. I'll click save here for the moment. Another way in which we can share this collection is via email. So if I check this box here, you can see what's happened is it's generated an email address, and anyone can actually update this collection by sending an email to this email address. And that actually is very, very useful for you know, SOC teams, because, you know, if you have a team of 3 or 4, or more people, particularly in the early discovery phases, they're going to use every tool available to them to gather as much information as possible. So sending information via email is actually very, very useful. We also support Taxi, so you can add information into the collection via Taxi as well. So those are 2 of the ways in which those are a few of the ways in which collections can be shared. If I go to, let's see, let me just change gears here again. And, you know, obviously there's a number of features here which I'm not going to talk about because, you know, I'm focused solely on the sharing aspects. One thing you can do, obviously, is with a collection, if you have other products, other IBM products like IBM QRadar, you can assess whether that collection is actually impacting your environment. But again, that does assume that, or does rely on there being a QRadar installation available. So that's collections. I'm going to talk briefly about groups, because groups are another important part of how information is shared. You can see here, I actually have a number of groups here. I have obviously demo groups. We have a SOC Ireland group. We have a SOC Cork group. So we have this idea of groups and subgroups. So you can have a hierarchy of sharing. So I go to the SOC Ireland group. We can see it has a number of members. There are a number of different collections being used by that group or shared within that group. There are obviously subgroups, and one other part here is we can enable anyone within that group to be able to create a brand new collection, again via email. And again, you know, email is actually a very, very important part of how collections are created and updated. We found that, you know, in practice, security analysts actually use this feature quite a lot. So that's basically groups. It's let me just go back to the collection here a moment, and we just go to some other aspects of the collection. You have the collection outline. The collection outline is really just the structure of the collection, and that is completely up to the author, the collection author, how they want to structure the collection. They can obviously, you know, remove different headings. This is a rich text editor, so you can embed video, embed images, and so on. So it's a really kind of rich environment for creating collections or creating content that you may want to share with others. Like I say, IBM itself uses this tool for publishing security advisories. So, you know, typically if you see a security advisory from IBM, it's going to be actually on the XForce Exchange, and our research team actually use this tool internally as well. So that's pretty much kind of an overview of collections and collection sharing, and how you know, sharing can be done via groups and individuals. Are there any questions on the chat or otherwise?
So we're looking actually good on the chat. I think you did a fabulous demo there. I haven't picked any question up, but everybody's still here, so well done.
So really, that's all I have. I mean, if I can talk more a little bit about XForce Exchange in general, if you know, if people are interested. We do actually have also an API which is available, and obviously the API kind of is very, very extensive. There's a number of, basically it's a way of accessing all of the different types of information, all of the different types of data that are available on the XForce Exchange platform, collections, vulnerabilities, you know, various different reports. All of them are available via an API. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the API. Any other questions? If not, I'll hand over back to yourself, Andy.
Actually, it will be Owen, if you want to hand.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Owen, I think you wanted to announce our next round.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Walter. Really appreciate the presentation, and especially the demo. I think that's really practical for anybody that's interested in XForce Exchange. So what we'll do is we'll send around the slide deck from Walter, and also the other suggestions of threat intel platforms that Andy had up at the start. Thanks very much for everyone for joining us today. Our next threat intel session, which is going to be number 5, is on the 24th of March. It's always the last Wednesday of the month at this time, 12:30. And it's going to be on how to build a threat intel program with Derek Buchanan from CrowdStrike. So that'll be another interesting one. Thanks very much again to Walter for presenting today. And we hope to see you in a month's time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody. Goodbye.